Good morning, students. In our previous video of the Tempest Act 2 Scene 1, we have discussed till lines 170, and in this video we'll be discussing lines 171 till 233. So by the end of this video, you will be able to learn the explanation of lines 171 till 233, learn the references and literary devices of the lines 171 till 233. In our previous video, we have discussed that Gonzalo tells Antonio and Sebastian to keep on laughing at nothing, for they have nimble lungs. Antonio, 'twas you we laughed at. Gonzalo, who in this kind of merry fooling? I'm nothing to you, so you may continue and laugh at nothing still. Now children, what is the meaning of merry fooling? It means idle talk. So Antonio says that it was not what Antonio and Sebastian laughed at. That means they did not laugh at nothing, but they laughed at Gonzalo for being fool enough to talk nothing. Gonzalo, while retorting courteously, says that in the matter of laughing at the silliest trifles, he is nothing if compared to both of them. So, in laughing at him and at what he says, they will still be keeping their custom of laughing at nothing. Antonio, what a blow was given there. So Antonio gets excited and says to Sebastian that Gonzalo has struck a great hit at them. Sebastian, and it had not fallen flat long. Now children, what is the meaning of flat long? It means ineffective. Now children, if you must have seen a sword, it has got two sides. One is the flat side and the another one is a sharp blade. So flat long is the reference to a sword. A sword does no harm if it turns so that the blow is delivered with the flat side of the blade instead with the edge. That means the blow which Gonzalo has given is not from the sharp edge of the sword, but it has fallen flat, right? So Sebastian says that Antonio is right, but only if it had not fallen harmlessly. Gonzalo, you are gentlemen of brave metal. Now children, what is the meaning of metal? It means spirit. Now this line has been spoken ironically by Gonzalo. So the figure of speech used here is irony. You would lift the moon out of her sphere. Now children, what is the meaning of sphere? It means orbit. If she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing. Now children, see this line. You would lift the moon out of her sphere. This is hyperbole. That means it has been exaggerated. Also you will see that for moon, she has been used. That means moon is personified. So Gonzalo ironically says that Antonio and Sebastian are the gentlemen of courageous spirit. They would even attempt the impossible, like they would move the moon out of her usual course if she were to go on for more than a month without usual change. Let us now read the gist of the lines. Antonio replies to Gonzalo that it was he who they were laughing at. Gonzalo says that in the matter of laughing at the silliest things, he is nothing when compared to them. So they may keep on and laugh at his empty words some more. Antonio says that Gonzalo has struck a great hit at them. Sebastian says that he sure did, but it's too bad that it fell flat. Gonzalo ironically replies that they are brave gentlemen. They would give the moon a shove if it got stuck 5 weeks in its orbit. Let us now read lines 180 till 194. Enter Ariel, invisible, playing solemn music. Sebastian, we would sow and then go a bat fowling. Now children, what is the meaning of bat fowling? Catching birds with poles. So now Ariel enters the scene while playing music and lulls everyone to sleep. Sebastian agrees to Gonzalo that yes, They would move the moon and then would go out hunting bats in the darkness, night after night. Now children, what actually bat fowling is? Let's read. To go bat fowling was a method of catching birds on a dark night. Men would go into the woods where birds were perching on the branches of the trees, armed with long poles and lighted torches. The birds were frightened out of the trees with the poles, and they would then fly wildly and make for the lights, thus being captured. Antonio to Gonzalo. Nay, good my lord, be not angry. Now Antonio tries to drive Gonzalo to anger and calls him my lord and requests him to not to lose his temper. Gonzalo, no, I warrant you, I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep? For I am very heavy. Now children, what is the meaning of adventure? It means risk. Discretion, it means good sense. Heavy means drowsy or sleepy. Gonzalo assures him that he is not angry. He says that he won't risk his reputation for wisdom for so petty a cause as Antonio's and Sebastian's laughter. He further asks that since they excel in laughing, would they laugh him to sleep as he is a bit drowsy. Antonio, go sleep and hear us. Antonio tells him to prepare to sleep and hear all the laughing he has asked Antonio and Sebastian to do, for that will increase his sleepiness. All sleep except Alonso, Sebastian and Antonio. So all sleep except Alonso, Sebastian and Antonio. This is the magic effect of Ariel's music. Alonso, what? All so soon asleep? I wish mine eyes would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so. Alonso is surprised. How is it possible that all have fallen asleep so soon? He wishes that with the closing of his eyes, he could end worrying thoughts. He says that his eyes are heavy with sleep and his eyes feel inclined to shut themselves up in sleep. Sebastian, please you, sir, do not omit the heavy offer of it. Now children, what is heavy offer of it? It is sleepiness. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comforter. So Sebastian requests Alonso to not to reject sleep's offer. He says that sleep seldom comes to a man in sorrow, and when it does come, it is a comforting thing. Antonio, we too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety. Now children, Antonio says to Alonso that they both, now who are they both? Sebastian and Antonio. Both will watch him. Whom will watch? Alonso while he sleeps, and they will look to his safety. Now children, we'll see the phrase wondrous heavy here. So Alonso says, thank you, wondrous heavy. Now wondrous heavy means wonderfully sleepy. But this word wondrous serves to accentuate the atmosphere of enchantment of the play. Now Alonso says thank you to Antonio and says that his eyes are extremely oppressed with drowsiness, means he is feeling wonderfully sleepy. Exit Ariel. Alonso sleeps and it's a magical sleep cast on him by Ariel. After this, Ariel also goes away. Let us read the gist of the lines. Ariel enters invisible playing solemn music. Sebastian says that Gonzalo is right, and then after they have fixed the moon, they would go bird hunting. Antonio tries to drive Gonzalo to anger and calls him his lord. He requests him not to be angry with them. Gonzalo replies that he is not. He should not risk his reputation for good sense by such weakness. He further asks Antonio if he could laugh him to sleep as he is feeling very sleepy. Antonio tells Gonzalo to go to sleep and listen to them laughing. Everyone sleeps except Alonso. Alonso gets surprised and asks how is it that everybody has fallen asleep so fast. He wishes he could sleep too, as it would stop him from thinking. He further says that he feels inclined to do so. Sebastian says that in that case he should sleep, as people in grief need a good sleep. It doesn't come to them often, but when it does come, they should enjoy it. Antonio says that the two of them, that is Antonio and Sebastian, will guard him while he sleeps and keep him safe. Alonso thanks him for this and says that he feels terribly sleepy. Then he falls asleep. Ariel exits. Let us now read lines 195 till 203. Sebastian, what a strange drowsiness possesses them. Now children, Ariel played a music in everyone's ear without letting anyone know about it. But he didn't make Antonio and Sebastian sleep. Seeing everyone asleep, Sebastian exclaims that it is a strange sleepiness that has come upon them all. Antonio, it is the quality of the climate. Now children, what is the meaning of quality? It means nature. Antonio tells him that it is one of the effects of the climate of the island. Sebastian, why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep. Sebastian asks, then how is it that their eyelids do not fall upon their eyes, weighing with sleep? He says that he does not feel inclined to sleep. Antonio, nor I. My spirits are nimble. They feel together all, as by consent they dropped as by a thunderstroke. Now children, what is the meaning of nimble? It means lively and alert. So Antonio tells Sebastian that he too does not feel sleepy. He says that his vital powers are quite alive and active. That is why he does not feel sleepy at all. He says about all those who have slept that it seems like they have slept by common agreement or consent. They dropped as if they have been struck down by lightning. What might, worthy Sebastian? Oh, what might? Antonio asks Sebastian, what might happen? Oh, what might happen? Now children, oh, what might shows that thought of murdering Alonso in sleep enters into Antonio's head at the sight of them all lying at the mercy. Now children, it was the time when Antonio was going to tell Sebastian about the opportunity of committing the crime. But he interrupts himself. No more. No more means he interrupts himself and says he will not say anything more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face what thou shouldest be. Now children, Antonio says that he thinks he can see in Sebastian's face what he desires in his heart. The occasion speaks thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head. Now children, what is the meaning of speaks? It means prompts or incites. So here Sebastian is provoked by Antonio to kill Alonso. He says that the opportunity speaks to Sebastian and summons him to act so that he may be what he deserves to be. And Antonio can already see with his mind's eye a crown on Sebastian's head. Let us read the gist of the lines. Sebastian feels strange that they all got so sleepy. Antonio says that there must be something in the air there at the island. Sebastian further asks, if that is so, then why aren't their eyelids heavy as he is not sleepy at all? Antonio replies that even he is not sleepy. He is wide awake. He says that they all have fallen asleep together as if they had been struck by lightning. He says to Sebastian what might happen if, but then he says that it's time for him to shut up. But still, he thinks that he can see in Sebastian's face what he ought to be. He says that opportunity is knocking for him, and in his imagination, he is seeing a crown dropping onto Sebastian's head. Let us now read lines 205 till 217. Sebastian, what art thou waking? Sebastian, making a cautious approach, says to Antonio that he is not certainly speaking in a state of wakefulness. Antonio, do you not hear me speak? Antonio asks Sebastian if he heard what he said. Sebastian, I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of the sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep. Sebastian pretends not to understand Antonio and then forces him to speak plainly. He says that he has heard what Antonio said, and it seems to him that Antonio is muttering in his sleep. Sebastian asks Antonio to tell him what he meant. He says that it must be a strange sleep, that Antonio is sleeping as he is asleep with eyes open. He is standing, speaking, and moving about, while all the time being deeply asleep. Antonio, noble Sebastian, thou lettest thy fortune sleep, die, rather winkst, whilst thou art waking. Now children, what is the meaning of fortune sleep? It means go by. Winkst, it means keep the eyes closed. Now children, there is antithesis used in this line of Antonio. Antithesis is a figure of speech in which the writer brings two opposite or contrasting ideas up against each other. Now here sleep and waking are two opposite ideas. Hence it is antithesis. Now here children, Antonio is afraid to speak out his murderous design distinctly. He says to Sebastian that he does not seem to make the most of his opportunity of securing greatness. Antonio further says that Sebastian is permitting his opportunity to sleep, or rather die. He refuses to see the chance presented to him. It is Sebastian that is asleep in mind, though awake in body. Sebastian, thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores. Now children, what is the meaning of meaning? It means hint. Now Sebastian reverts to his own suggestion that Antonio is talking in sleep. He says that Antonio may be snoring in his sleep, but there is a lot of sense in the snores. He snores intelligibly. It seems that Antonio means to say something to him. Antonio, I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too. If heed me, which to do troubles thee over. Now children, what is the meaning of custom? It means habit. Now here children, Antonio gives a subtle hint to Sebastian about what he wants. He says that he is not joking lightheartedly as he has lately been doing. He is quite serious now. He is more serious than usual. He says that Sebastian should also be serious. If Sebastian purposes to follow Antonio's advice, he says that if Antonio heeds his advice, it would make him thrice as great as he is now. Let us read the gist of the lines. Sebastian asks Antonio if he is dreaming or awake. Antonio asks Sebastian if he didn't hear him speaking. Sebastian replies that he did, and it sounded like Antonio was talking in his sleep. He further asks him what he said. He feels that it's weird for Antonio to be dreaming with his eyes wide open, standing, talking, moving, but sound asleep. Antonio says to Sebastian that Sebastian is the one who is sleeping if he let this opportunity go by without acting on it. Sebastian replies that Antonio is snoring, but it sounds like he is talking. He feels that there's meaning in his snoring. Antonio replies to Sebastian that he is not kidding. When he says this, he is not joking around like usual. He says to Antonio that he must be serious too when he listens to what he is saying. He says that Antonio can become a great man if he listens to him, and if he does so, he'll be thrice as great as he is now. Let us now read lines from 218 till 233. Sebastian, well, I am standing water. Now children, standing water, standing means motionless, and it is a metaphor. So Sebastian compares himself to standing water. The children, Sebastian remains cautious and says that he is standing water, which means he is not able to decide what to do. Here Sebastian compares himself to standing water. Antonio, I'll teach you how to flow. Now flow means rise to a great height. So Antonio replies that he'll teach Sebastian to flow. That means to make his mind clear and help his ideas flow. Sebastian, do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me. Now children, what is the meaning of ebb? It means to drift or to let go an opportunity. Hereditary sloth is inherited laziness. So Sebastian requests Antonio to do so, to teach him what to do, to clear his thoughts. He says that his hereditary laziness rather teaches him to go downward like the ebbing or outgoing tide. Antonio, oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, whilst thus you mock it, how in stripping it you more invest it. Now children, what is the meaning of cherish? It means love somebody very much. What is the meaning of stripping? It means laying bare or robbing the words of their common meaning. You more invest it. Invest means hide. Now Antonio here instigates Sebastian against his brother Alonso and hints his murder. He says to Sebastian that he does not know himself. Antonio says that he wishes Sebastian knew how he wants the plan. Plan, children, which plan? Plan of displacing Alonso. So, Antonio says that he wishes Sebastian knew how he wants the plan, even while he mocks at it. How in denying all meaning to it, he is putting more meaning into it. Ebbing men, indeed, most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth. Now children, again, sloth means laziness. So Antonio further says that men whose fortunes are ebbing or declining often come to the lowest level because of their own fear or laziness. Sebastian, prithee, say on, the setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield. Now children, what is the meaning of setting? Setting means the fixed look. Matter, an important communication. Throws, it means causes much distress. Yield, it means give away or surrender. So children, Sebastian gets interested in Antonio's talk and requests him to go on. He says that the fixed look and expression in Antonio's eyes and the flush on his cheeks show that he has some important subject in his thoughts, which caused him much pain to be delivered. It means Antonio is feeling much pain in delivering his thoughts. Now children, the words birth, throws and yield have an important reference. They are metaphor. Let's read. The words birth, throws and yield all carry out the metaphor of a woman undergoing the pains of a difficult childbirth. Similarly, Antonio seems to have trouble in imparting his idea to Sebastian. That is why he says that Antonio is feeling much pain in delivering his thoughts. Antonio, thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuaded, for he is a spirit of persuasion only, professes the king his son is alive. Now children, let us see the meaning. Weak remembrance means failing memory. Earthed means buried. For he is a spirit of persuasion. Persuasion means to make somebody believe something. Professes makes it his job. Now Antonio finally comes to his murderous suggestion. He says to Sebastian that the matter is that this courtier. Now children, who is this courtier he is referring to? He is referring to Gonzalo. He says that this courtier of failing memory, whose memory for things is as short as people's memory of him will be, that means when he'll be forgotten by people soon after he dies. He has almost persuaded the king. Now why has he persuaded the king? For he is the very soul of persuasion. He has an art of persuasion. And his one profession in life is to persuade the king. So he has already persuaded the king Alonso that his son is alive. It is as impossible that he is undrowned, and he that sleeps here swims. Now he believes, who? Antonio. He believes that it is as impossible that Ferdinand is not drowned as that he who sleeps here swims. Now he is here referred to Alonso. So Antonio points out to Alonso and tells Sebastian that he has no doubt that Ferdinand is dead. And it is impossible to believe that Ferdinand is not drowned. As much impossible as thinking that Alonso is not sleeping but he is swimming. Sebastian, I have no hope that he is undrowned. So Sebastian also says that he has no doubt that Ferdinand is dead. He has drowned. Let us read the gist of the lines, children. Sebastian says that he is as motionless water. Antonio replies that Sebastian needs to do more than hang around. He has to act. Antonio says that he will show Sebastian which way to flow. Sebastian replies that Antonio needs to do so as he is lazy by nature and it impels him to flow backwards. Antonio says that if only Sebastian knew how he is nursing the desire in his heart while he trifles with it. He further says that trying to lay it bare, he is hiding it. He guides Sebastian that lazy people end up at the bottom and Sebastian deserves to be at the top. Sebastian requests Antonio to tell him more. He feels that there is something in Antonio's expression that tells him he has something serious to say, and he is having a lot of difficulty saying it. Antonio points at Gonzalo and says that this is what he is saying. He says that although this lord, that is Gonzalo, who has such a bad memory and who will be forgotten by the world when he is dead and buried, has almost succeeded in convincing the king that his son is alive, yet it is impossible that he survived. It's as far from the truth as saying this sleeping man, who is this sleeping man? Alonso, is swimming. Sebastian says that he is sure Ferdinand is dead and has got no hope that Ferdinand survived. Now children, that is all for the day today. For your homework, you will do extracts 6 and 7 with pen on your workbook. Thank you.